All right. Thank you guys for confirming. Let me share my screen. I hope all of you can see my screen, right? Can you confirm, guys, in the chat? Do you all see my screen, guys? Okay, great. Thank you for confirming, guys. So let's get started. So ideally, I had the plan of starting Python today, but we're going to start the language Python, from Monday. But today we're going to discuss a very interesting topic called large language models. Okay, and then we will do a little bit of coding if time permits. Okay, so the fundamental thing in generative AI, okay, in generative AI, this entire concept is built on top of a model called large language model. Okay, so the entire concept of generative AI came into picture because of the large language model. And the large language model came into picture because of a neural network called transformer. Okay, so why do we call a model as a large language model? This is very important to understand. Why is large language model called as large language model? So before you understand large language model, you need to be knowing what is language model in the first place. This part. What do we mean by language model? Okay. So language models are those models that will try to predict the next word in the sentence. Okay. So given a sentence, it will try to predict the next word in a sentence. But why do we call those language models as a large language models? Okay, let me tell you an example. Let's say I'll show you with an example. So uh, this is a platform where I'm sending this question to the okay. So guys, please go on mute. Guys, please go on mute. Okay. So this is a question, guys, which I'm going to send it to my one model called Llama 3.21b. Okay, this is a large language model. So why am I calling this large language model? Okay, I will tell you why it is called as, actually it is a language model, but why is it called large language model? I'll tell you in a moment. So this is
Sir, your voice is not coming.
guys, is it same for everybody?
No, we can hear.
Okay, please check your internet connection, guys. Okay, if you are not able to hear me. All right. So this is a question, guys, that I'm sending it to the language model. Okay. So what happens is when I send this question to the language model, given this input, it will try to predict what should be the next word. Okay, what is the next word it has to predict given this sentence and start telling the joke. Okay, so now if I play this, you observe based on the probability, it will try to predict the next word. Okay, so I started it and I stopped. Okay, now you see, tell me a joke. Based on this input, it is trying to see what is the next word that it fits after here. So out of all these words that it has predicted with most probability, the next word in the sentence will be A. Okay, now let me just resume. See, the next word it has predicted is A. Now again, it will go back and take the entire sentence from tell to A. So tell me a joke A. based on this entire sentence, now it will try to check what is the best suitable word next in the sequence. Now, if you see, these are the next suitable words in the sequence, and the best out of all the words, the probability of man being a next word is more. So 99.2% probability that man comes next after this word. So if I resume it, see it has, displayed man. Now, if I continue this, see, after a man, based on this entire previous information, it is trying to predict the next word. A man walked. So the next token or a word in the sequence will be walked. So let me resume this. So this is how, guys, based on the previous information, it will try to predict the next word based on the probability. Okay, so these kind of models are called as language models. Okay, but why do we call these language models as large language models? So in order to understand that, you need to understand a simple neural network. We will discuss this entire thing in depth as we go along. So generally, neural networks would look something like this. So I will just draw a simple one for now. Okay, so this neural network, let's say its job is to take uh, experience and age. Given this input, it has to predict somebody's salary. Okay, so this is a neural network. So in the neural network, and neural networks are connected in this fashion, okay, with the nodes. Now, so when you're sending the input, which is any input, in this case, experience and age, so some mathematical operations happen inside these perceptrons. This is a perceptron, this is a perceptron, and this is also a perceptron. Okay, but this entire thing is called as a neural network, a simple neural network. Okay, now whenever you're sending some information through this network, you always add some weightage, W1, and this is W2, and it will also have something called as bias. Each perceptron will have its own bias. And again, the output of this neuron will be sending it to the next perceptron, right? Or neuron. So again, there will be some weight, W3 and W4. And there will be a final answer, which is output. Now, in this small neural network, if you see the number of parameters that we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parameters. Okay, so what are parameters, guys? Parameters are nothing but weights and biases in a neural network. Okay, so all these large language models are built with huge number of parameters. That's why one of the reasons why they are called a large language models is because they are very, very huge. The number of weights and biases that they use internally is very, very huge. So I will show you and let's ask few large language models and its parameters. So list a few large language models and their parameters. Okay, now you can see here. GPT-3 model developed by OpenAI, it has 175 billion parameters. So we are talking about 7 parameters here, and these people are talking about 175 billion parameters. Okay, that means the neural network will be very, very huge. Okay, the large language that they built is very, very deep. Okay, this will have multiple layers and there will be a lot of weights and biases inside that. Okay, that's why, since it is very big, that's why one of the reasons why we call it as a large language model. Okay, because of the huge number of parameters. Okay, and for the other models, they actually did not disclose that information, but you will find most of the LLMs parameters released by the companies. Some companies may release it and some companies may not release it, but ideally all of them are very, very huge. Okay, so because they learn more data, right? So when you have more data, you need more parameters. Okay, here if you see only two data, two values, but these large language models were trained on what? Can anyone tell me what is the data that they used? Some of the examples of the data that they used, guys, to train a large language model. Can you name few sources? Can anyone name, guys? The number one is Wikipedia. They pulled the entire Wikipedia information to train their models. Second one is
Google, Google also, I think.
Reddit. Okay. Then the third one is books, articles, etc. Okay, so they don't have companies private information, so they are not entitled to use that, but whatever is readily available in the market or on Google online, they used all the data and then they trained the large language model. So one reason to call it as a large language model is huge number of parameters. The number one reason is parameters, huge parameters. And the second reason is obviously the huge data that it learns during the training. And the third one is huge amount of resources. Okay, especially GPUs, which are being supplied by NVIDIA mostly. That's why NVIDIA's stocks have gone significantly higher ever since the ChatGPT came into picture. Okay, so these are some of the reasons why we call a large language model, okay, as large. But ideally, language models were there, but they used to do very simple jobs earlier. But ever since they were trained on huge parameters with huge data, and we had huge GPUs supplied by NVIDIA, everybody has their own, or most of the companies has their own large language models. Okay, so everybody following along, guys? Is everyone following along? Any questions that you have? Guys, please acknowledge. Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So today we will see, guys, LLMs built by OpenAI. Okay, OpenAI has many LLMs that they released. Okay, GPT based LLMs, right? Generative pre-trained transformer. Now we will see if you go to ChatGPT. Okay, so this is a ChatGPT where you have history, and this is a user interface. Correct? So user will go and write something, and that will be populated over here, and the ChatGPT's response will be shown here. Again, the user will ask another question, and again there will be another answer. So ChatGPT is an interface, but internally, whatever the questions that you are sending, it is being sent to a model internally called GPT model. Okay, whether it is the latest model or older model, but ultimately you are sending your queries to GPT model, which is inside of the chat GPT. Okay, now companies actually do not want, let's say, companies want to use this LLM. Okay, most of the companies want to use this LLM, but they don't want to use it through chat GPT. Why? Because your data is being stored here in the history. Sensitive data will be stored here. Chat GPT will use that data to train their models in the future. Okay, that's a sensitive thing. It's a risk for the company. So they want to use LLMs, but not through chat GPT. Okay, they don't want to expose their data to chat GPT, but at the same time they want to use the LLMs. Okay, so how do you use the LLM, developed by OpenAI? So I will show you with the code. Okay, so we will go to OpenAI platform. Okay, so this is our OpenAI platform, and inside that you will have something called as API platform. Okay, so if you select ChatGPT, of course you will go and ask questions to the ChatGPT. But here I don't want to go to ChatGPT or Codex, because Codex is for generating the code. Okay. And I will go to API platform. So whenever companies release their models, guys, if you want to access or hit their models, you need to either these LLMs can be open source or closed source. Okay. So open source means they are free. Their code is also available in the on the online on the online. But if it is closed source, if it is a closed source, then it goes with the subscription basis. Okay, you need to take the subscription and hit their LLMs. Okay, models, all the GPT models are based on subscription. Okay, all the most of the Llama models from Meta are free. Okay, Gemini models are also you will get free tokens for some time, but again it is also on the basis of subscription if it is an enterprise LLM that you're using. Okay, so some of the models are free source, open source, and some of them are closed source. Okay, now companies may want to use free source if they don't open source if they don't have a budget, but if they have enough budget, then they prefer the closed source LLMs because they are more reliable and it is easy to hit them. Okay, now again I will go to the platform here. So this is my API platform, right? So in order to create the API, I told you, right? Sorry, I did not mention. So in order to hit this LLM, you need to take the subscription. So when I say subscription, you will have to uh, recharge it for some dollars and then create an API key over there. Okay, so you need to create an API key on that platform. So we will discuss what are APIs and all that stuff in our upcoming classes. So for now, you understand that it is a permission to connect to the LLM. Okay, so you will get that API key from the platform. So here you will go and you can click on this API keys. Okay, so in the API keys, you can create new secret key and then you can name it whatever you want and then select any project that you have and create the secret key. Okay, so I already have it created, so I will not create it one more time. Okay, now once you have this key ready, now you will need to go to something called as documentation of OpenAI. Okay, so let me see if the documentation is present over here. I'll go to OpenAI platform one more time. Yeah, docs. Okay, so you need to go to something called as docs. And they actually changed their platform lately, apparently. Yeah, so I go to API here and quick start. Okay, so in the quick start, the first step is they will ask you to create an API key, which we already created. Okay, next you need to export the OpenAI API key, as in set it in your platform. If you are using VS Code, you need to run this in the terminal. If it is Collab, Google Collab, you can just add it as an environment variable, which I will show you. Then they will give you the code to connect to their LLM. So you need to connect to their LLM, right? Not through ChatGPT, but through your LLM, through your uh, uh, what is that? IDE. Okay, so I want to open Collab first. Okay, so Google Colab, it is similar to Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so I will open this. And I will show you how easy it is to build your Q&A bot, okay, which internally uses a GPT model without having to go to ChatGPT all the time. So while it loads, I will come back here. So if you see, they will give you the code to connect to their LLMs. You can connect it through JavaScript if you are comfortable with that, or .NET or Java or Go or Ruby. But I'm comfortable with Python, so I will select Python. So in order to connect to their LLM using Python, this is the code that they have provided. So first of all, you need to install their library called OpenAI and then use this piece of code to call their LLM. Okay, it's that simple. So I will explain it that. So I will copy this part from here, and I did not load it yet. It's taking a lot of time. So let me refresh. Okay. So generally, guys, you can also store your API keys over here in the secrets. Okay. So I have many keys. I stored it in the past. So either you can store it over here or you can just define it over here as well. Okay. So first of all, I will define my OpenAI API key. So I will go to my cursor. So .env, and this is my OpenAI API key. I'll just copy it from there, come back, and then I'm going to first set my API key as an environment variable. So once I set it as an environment variable, that key will be picked, this entire session. You don't have to again and again, give that key to the code that you are writing. So whatever the code that you have here, you don't have to pass the API key here. Generally, we pass the API key inside this OpenAI class object that we are creating. Okay. So instead of passing that over here, you can define it, as an environment variable. Okay. So I will show you both the methods. First, I will show you the easier method, which is this one. So I will first copy this pip install OpenAI, and then I will just write capture and paste it over here. So pip install OpenAI is going to install the OpenAI library. So the reason why I'm writing this is I don't want to see installation steps. Okay, that's why I'm writing here. So if you remove this, then it will show you all the installation steps. So which I don't want to see. So I will run this. Okay, so it is installing, but it is not showing the installation steps. So I'll go back and I'm going to copy the next piece of code. So I'll come back here and then I'm going to paste it over here. So whatever the library that I installed over here, so from that library, I'm calling a class called OpenAI. Okay, so from this library that I installed, I'm calling a class called OpenAI. So how do I know that this is a class? So if something starts with uppercase character and there is also another uppercase in the middle, then that particular name will be a class. Okay, so this is a class. Even if you place your cursor, I think it should be able to show you as a class. So from this OpenAI library, I'm calling a class called OpenAI itself. Now, whenever you have a class, okay, you might have, if you, yes, guys, sorry. If you have any questions, you can just raise your hand, guys. So whenever you have a class, the next thing that you create is an object. Okay, if you know other languages, so whenever you have a class, you will create an object of that class. Okay, what is an object? It is an instance of a class. Okay, so ideally, in whenever you are defining an object, you need to pass the API key. So API key uh, underscore. This is a variable name, and you need to pass the key over here. So in the quotes, whatever the key that I have here, guys, please go on mute. Okay, so this is a key. I'm going to copy. I'll come back and paste it over here. Okay, so this is how you create an object. Now the OpenAI knows that you have a permission to connect to their models. Okay, so inside this API class, OpenAI class, so they have a function called create. Okay, so inside the class, whatever the functions or the methods that you write, you will be able to access it with the help of client or the object. Okay, so where you are accessing a create method written inside the OpenAI class. Okay, so all these things you will understand in Python when we learn OOPS concepts. Okay, now inside this method, you need to pass the model that you want to use. So currently I'm using the latest GPT 5.6 model, but if you want to use the older version also, you can use it. Okay, now this is a question that I'm passing it to this model. Okay, now I'm not passing the question from ChatGPT. I'm passing the question from my code itself. Okay, so instead of this, I'll just write write a joke about RCB. Okay, some random question. Okay, or any other team. And this question will be sent to this model and it will generate a response, and that response will be stored here. Okay. Along with this response, it will also store the number of tokens it consumed. Okay. The number of tokens it has output, it has given out, how many tokens it has taken, and how many tokens it has given out. So what do we mean by token? Word or a subword. So if you see here, this is a tokenizer playground. If I write something here, write something. Okay, if you see here, how many tokens we have? Two tokens. The first word is one token, and this is the second word is another token. Okay, two tokens, 15 characters. So either one word will, entire word will be one token, or four characters will be one token. Okay, so depending on the different depending on the LLM that you're using from a different company, some companies choose the entire word as one token, and some companies use only four as a token. Okay. So guys, okay, now guys, I will run this. And if I run this piece of code, it will store the response here, and in the response, I will print all the response. It will have a lot of other things, including the text. Okay, let me just let it print. See, it has generated the response. So it has given an ID number for that. When was it created? If there are any errors, and a lot of other things, model that it has used. Okay. So there are a lot of other things. What I wanted was just a response, but it is giving extra information also. So which I don't want. Where is the actual answer? Okay. So there will be one parameter called output text. If you go here, yeah, if you see, this is the text. I want only this piece, not the other things. So that's why they have one variable, they have one name called output text. If you run this, it will pull this part from the response instead of giving all the gibberish. Okay, now you see RCB finally won the IPL. Now their fans have to be find a new personality trait besides saying is Sala Kapnum. Okay, so this is how they designed it. Okay, now you can ask a question to the model directly without having to ask it from ChatGPT. Okay. Now, let's say you want to use your LLM and you want to give this LLMs access to your company's employees. So obviously, every employee will not come and write question inside the code, right? Okay, he will not set up one collab or something like that. Okay, so that is not how it works, because not every employee is a developer, AI developer. So you have to have a one interface like ChatGPT or a simpler one, so that the employees can go to that platform and then hit the ChatGPT LLM, which is GPT 5.6 LLM. Okay, but from your interface, from the application that you built. So I will show you by building a simple application. Let me. There is a library called Gradio. Okay, so this is a Gradio. So if you go to Gradio platform, so Gradio will help you create interfaces faster, where you can interact with your models. Okay, something like this. Okay, so you ask a question, it will give you an answer. Ask a question, it will give you an answer. Okay, so you don't have to rely on ChatGPT. You create your own, interface in a simpler manner. So I will do that now. So import Gradio as GR. This is the library that I'm going to import. Okay, so this Gradio, if you look at the simple, their simple code, quick start wala. So just like you saw quick start in OpenAI, they will also have their own quick start. So you will have to install pip install Gradio if you don't have. Okay, so let me just go back. Mm, guides, I'll go to guides. Yeah, quick start. Okay, so see, this is how they have a sample code to create the interface. So you can first install, just like you installed OpenAI, you install Gradio. Okay, after that, this is a sample application that you can build. Okay, to build a Gradio application, what you need is you need a function. Okay, you need a function that you need to send it to this interface class, and you need to mention what is your input, whether it is text or a number, and what is the expected output from that function. You need to mention that, and what is your application name. Once all of them are ready, just launch the application. Okay. But for us, I'm not going to send the text to this grade function, because here, if you send name of a person, it will go to this function and it will return hello and that person name. But in our case, I don't want to send my question to this greet function. Rather, I want to send my question to this model. Okay, so that's why I need to write my own function, which will send my question to this piece of code and generates the response in this fashion. Okay, so let us write our own function. So I will copy this code from here for now. Okay, so that's why in Python, guys, writing functions are very, very important, which I will show you as we go along. So this is not the function that I want. I want a function, right? Def my chat GPT. This is my function, and this will take a query. So query or a prompt. So what did we send here? It is my query or a question or a prompt. Okay. Now what do you want to do with that prompt? So if somebody sends a query, you need to send that query to this place. Okay. Instead of hard coding it, so you will directly send that to this place. So I will copy it over here. Okay. Now just, yeah. So this is hard coded. So it should be query. Okay. So whatever user sends the query, that query should go and sit here, and that will be sent to the model and response will be stored here. Now you want to return what? This part. Okay. Instead of printing, you can return it. We will discuss the difference between return and print as we go along. Okay. Now you see I created my own function. Okay. I can test also. So first I will comment this. So let me call this function. I created my function, right? So I will write a doc string. Okay. So doc strings are very important so that other developers can understand the purpose of this function. So this function is created to generate a response from the LLM. Okay, so when the other developer sees this function, just he will read this line and understand that, okay, so this is a function written for this purpose. Okay, so he doesn't have to go through the code again and again. Just by this line, he will understand it. That's why writing a doc string, very, very important. Okay, now I will call this function, okay, from this name. So this is a function definition. Now I will call the function. So let's say, what is the capital here? Yes, please go on. Okay, now you see the capital of India is New Delhi. Okay, earlier my questions were directly hard coded into the code. Now I can change the question as I like. Now I can just simply say what is the capital of Sri Lanka, and it will give me the answer instantly. Okay, it's Colombo. Okay, now again, the user will not send the question from the function. He needs something like this interface, okay, where the user can come and give the question and generate the response. Okay, so that's why this piece of code will be important now. So I will just uncomment this part. Now, what is my function name? My function name is no longer greet. Okay, my function name is my chat GPT. So I will replace that. That's it. And my input, what is my input type? It is a string value. This is a string, right? It's not a number. It is text. So you call it as a string. So I will send the input as a string, and output will also be text only. So that's why the output is also text, and I will write it as API name is your application name, my own chat GPT. That's it. And I will launch it, and I will write share equal to true so that I can share this application with you also, and it will be running for the next 72 hours. Okay, so let me run this application. Now you see it has generated one link. I can go to my that particular interface that it has created. So if you are a front-end developer also, you can build a different your own interface using HTML, JavaScript, other languages that you are aware of. Okay. Now let me ask the same question. What is the capital of India? See, it got me the answer. Okay. So what is the uh, What is the capital of USA? See, the capital of United States is Washington, D.C. Okay, so you build your own smaller Q&A Q&A bot. Okay, so it's a Q&A bot that you build with minimum amount of code. Hardly what did you have to do? All you had to do was just write this piece of code. That's it. And it was able to create an application for you, which you can use with the help of LLMs instead of going to ChatGPT and interacting. Okay, but for this piece of application that you built, it will not store your chat history yet. Okay, so this does not have an option to store the chat history. So you need to write the logic to store the chat history. So all those things we will learn it as we go along. Okay, so let me show you an example. Hi, my name is Mujeeb. ChatGPT will remember these things, but this application will not remember because I did not have the logic to remember my previous conversation. So let me send this. Okay, hi Mujib, nice to meet you. Let me try asking what is my name. If it remembers my chat history, then it should say your name is Mujib. Okay, so let us see if Gradio helps us do that. See, I don't know your name. You haven't told me it. Okay, so that means it is not remembering your previous conversations. So that's why there is a difference between Q&A bot. Q&A bot means you ask a question, it will give you an answer. And there is another bot called conversational bot. So conversational bot, ChatGPT is a conversational bot where you can have a conversations. It will remember the previous conversation and it will understand your preferences, what you like and what you don't like and all that stuff with the interactions that you had in the past. But this application doesn't have it yet. Okay. So did you all follow along, guys? Any questions that you have? Yeah. Okay. So this is a simple demo, guys. Of course, when we go into the actual course, we will go with all the basics, how to create.
Hello,
Yeah, yeah.
hello.
Yes, we can hear you, man.
Yeah, actually, सर मिस्टर शेख राइट?
Yes.
आपका नाम क्या है?
Sheikh Mujib.
या शेख। शेख जी, एक्चुअली मैं मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है डिजिटल मार्केटिंग में। ओके,
Hmm.
मेरा मॉन पे भी कुछ एक्सपीरियंस है 1 ईयर का, और क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग भी जानता हूँ।
Okay.
ओके, तो मैं एआई एजेंट, मतलब मैं एक्चुअली आधा में ज्वाइन किया, मतलब जस्ट 15-20 मिनट हुआ मैंने ज्वाइन किया।
हम्म।
प्रॉपरली कुछ नहीं जान पाया। तो
आप फिर रिकॉर्डिंग
मैं,
देखो, ये रिकॉर्डिंग आपको मिलेगा, आप देखो, समझ में आएगा।
हाँ ना, वो तो ठीक है, बट
हम्म।
मैं एक्चुअल एटलीस्ट चाहता हूँ कि अगर प्रॉपर गाइडेंस मिलेगा तो पूरा एजेंट, मतलब आपका क्या रहता है, मतलब किस टाइप का रहता है, मतलब जो ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करोगे आप किस टाइप का प्रोवाइड करते हो?
ये पूरा जनरेटिव एआई, अगर आप लास्ट क्लास अगर नए थे तो दिस इज व्हाट वी आर।
नहीं था, नहीं था।
या तो हम लोग ये वाले पूरे चीज पढ़ने वाले, ये वाले कोर्स में मंडे से। ठीक है, तो पाइथन से स्टार्टिंग, फिर नंपाई स्टैटिस्टिक्स पढ़ेंगे, पाइथन के बाद ईडीए पढ़ेंगे, ये
हम्म,
टॉपिक्स है ईडीए में। मशीन लर्निंग के
हम्म,
एल्गोरिथम्स पढ़ेंगे, फिर डीप लर्निंग के पढ़ेंगे हम लोग, एनएलपी पढ़ेंगे, फिर जनरेटिव एआई। दीज आर द कॉन्सेप्ट्स।
हम्म।
जनरेटिव एआई में हम लोग पढ़ेंगे रैग क्या है, फाइन ट्यूनिंग कैसे करते, एजेंटिक एआई कैसे बिल्ड करते, और उन लोगों को मॉनिटरिंग इवैल्यूएशन कैसा करते थ्रू अलग अलग प्लेटफॉर्म्स।
ओके, हम खुद के लिए एजेंट बना सकते हैं ना?
आराम से बना सकते हैं।
ओके, देन ये गिट, ये
एलएलएम ऑप्स।
एडब्ल्यूएस क्या यूज?
हाँ, इसको एलएलएम ऑप्स बोल सकते हैं या डेवऑप्स बोल सकते हैं आप। तो इसमें कर हम
ओके,
सीखते हैं कि गिट किसको बोलते हैं, गिटहब क्या है, सीआईसीडी पाइपलाइन क्या है, डॉकर क्या है, कुबरनेटिस क्या है। और हमारे एप्लीकेशन को वी विल डिप्लॉय इट ऑन एडब्ल्यूएस, और ये सर्विसेज यूज
ओके,
करते हैं हम लोग एडब्ल्यूएस।
ओके,
ठीक है। ओके।
ठीक है। हम्म,
एनी
हम्म,
अदर क्वेश्चंस गाइस दैट यू हैव?
ठीक है, मैं कॉल पे बात करूंगा आपसे।
ठीक है, ठीक। Others, guys, please be interactive. Just let me know if you have any questions.
Sir, the coding part, can you please explain once?
Yeah, I'll explain it one more time. Which one, this one or the earlier one?
Yeah, this one, sir.
Okay. So what am I doing over here is I imported a Gradio as GR because I want Gradio library to create the interfaces like this. Okay. So I'm calling Gradio as a GR, which is a alias name. Now, in order to build an interface like this, if you go to their platform, they gave one template. So this is the template that they give. You need to call that library and you need to have a function and you need to use this piece of code. They gave you all the things. Okay, all you have to do is change this function and the logic inside it. Okay, so that's what you're doing. What are you doing over here? You are creating your own function called my chat GPT, whose purpose is to take a query from the user. And where will that query go? It will go to this piece of code. Okay. And where did this come from? This come from OpenAI. So OpenAI themselves gave us this piece of code to interact with their LLMs. Okay. So instead of hard coding our query, I'm writing a placeholder called query. So whatever the user sends as query, that will go to this place called input and query. And this query will be sent to this model and model will generate the response and that response will be stored in the response variable. But response variable will have a lot of other things also, but I want only the text out of it. So that's why I am pulling the text out of it and returning it. Okay, so that's why in this GR, from this GR, you are calling a class called interface and you are defining the function as per their template. So this is the template that they said, right? And what is the type of input? So it is a text which we are passing. And what is the output that you will get it from this function? That is also a text. And what is the API name or your application name? So my own chat GPT. So this is a your variable object and you are calling a method called launch. So when I write share equal to true, you can actually share this link with others. Okay, this link. I can share it with all of you and you can ask any question and then check from your end. Okay, so check that, guys, if you are able to generate the response. It will be uh, the share link is temporary and will last up to 1 week. Okay. So these kind of applications you can build it as a sample or a POC for the client or as a proposal, and you can share these links with the team. They can test it and then they can tell you whether or not it is good enough to fix their issues that they are currently facing. Okay, so you don't need to be a front-end developer to propose your solution using AI. Okay, simply use this kind of interface or Streamlit, and then you will be able to build a simple UI. Okay, that you can share it with the client, and then he can test it and then come back with the feedback. Okay, understood the piece of code. So
Yes,
if
sir.
you, yeah,
Thank
if
you.
you, yeah, no problem.
Mujeeb.
Hi, sir. This is Chakravarti. I have no idea about this. I am from finance background, so I want to change my career. So I I can how it is good thing to change now and learn everything.
How many years of experience you have?
I have 5 years experience in taxation.
Yeah, it's not good. It is brilliant. Okay. So you have to shift into AI. You now everybody needs to be AI aware. Okay. So you should know AI. Otherwise, right, the kind of impact AI is making. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So AI
No,
is
my question is I can sustainable about this. I have no idea about Python coding everything. So that's the reason. Shall I have any place to do for long term? Because I have no zero experience.
Yeah. So whatever the taxation experience that you have after this piece of course, that when you complete this, you will be knowing how to build the AI based applications. So that's why I told in the previous classes also. Now in the taxation, you try to find the pain point. What is taking you a lot of time that you can fix it with the help of LLMs, and you build an application around it and show it to your stakeholders and get the approval, and you lead the team and build an application for your company. Okay, so these are the kind of things that you can do it. Or if you're going for an interview outside, whatever the pain points that you have, you try to fix it by doing a POC. You build your own POC or application for yourself. Okay, just for learning. But when you go to the interview, you tell them that this is what I built in my previous company. Okay, nobody will go and ask your company that did he guys really work on that project. All they care is whether or not you worked for that company. That's it.
And how many days, months it will take to know these LLMs?
How many days? We will have 3 months of course. So within
Okay.
these 3 months, you will definitely have the knowledge of what is required to build an LLM based application.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we not going to study agentic AI, how agent makes decision? Yeah, we will study. This is just a demo, Zaki. We in the upcoming classes we will do it. In the Gen,
Sure.
we will do it. All the prompting techniques that you're talking about, MCP, host, server, client, and all that stuff. In this course, will you teach SQL, how SQL connect with our model like tables, joins, stores, procedures like that? The SQL will not be part of this particular course, but if time permits, I will tell you the basics of SQL. Okay, because this is GenAI focused course.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, guys, please do ask me if you have any more questions. Otherwise, we
Mujeeb,
can.
can you
Yeah,
go on collab page?
yeah, I'm going.
Collab page.
Second. Yes,
So in output, you write text here, I think, in output.
one moment. Yes, output text. Yes.
Yeah. So can we write PDF here if we want
Oh,
PDF?
no, no, no. This is given by OpenAI itself. Okay, you cannot do that. You have to write a different logic to create a PDF or a text file. So this is
Okay.
just to print text normally. That's it.
Yeah, so for PDF, what we have to do?
You have to write the logic
Okay.
to create a PDF, whatever the logic that you, let's say if it is .txt file, so you will
Mm.
in Python you have with open, so there is a concept called files concept, right? You will
Got it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So I will share this collab with you guys. If you want to run it, you can run. Let me remove my, I remember once I shared my API key with the college management. They had almost 200 PhD candidates that attended that workshop. The moment I just finished my workshop, and then I went to have some water and come back, I go see that I have negative OpenAI balance. That's how fast they consumed balance from OpenAI. So that's why you should be very critical and cautious of sharing your API keys with others. Okay. All right, guys. That's all from my end. If you do not have any questions, you can drop and we will catch up tomorrow. Okay. Thank you all for joining us.
Just a moment, Mujeeb.
Thank you, Mujeeb.
Class only on a weekdays or weekends also?
It will be only on weekdays from the next week, but this week we will have a class tomorrow also.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. No.
Bye. Good night.
Yeah.